Hi, my name is Antoinette Gagne. I teach at the University of Toronto, and I'm located in the new center, or a center with a new name, called Center for Educational Research in Languages and Literacies. And I'm fortunate enough to be working with a colleague in the field who you'll now meet.
Hi, I'm Soto Gordon. I'm the head of ESL and International Languages at William Lyon Mackenzie. I'm also a recent graduate in the Second Language Education program at OISE.
This is the third project in the Growing New Roots series, which have culminated in 3 DVDs with handbooks to support teachers working with English language learners. These 3 projects have been funded by the University of Toronto through a school-university partnerships grant, which is intended to bring a field partner like Stephanie together with a university professor to do research to actually make a difference in what happens in schools. Stephanie, we've had the opportunity to work together now on 3 mini research projects involving secondary school students. And today I'd like for you to walk us through some of the process involved in our research project, which we've really positioned as being a type of participatory action research involving students in your school. Can you tell us a little bit about the recruitment process? I understand that there were 2 distinct groups of students. There were the Canadian-born secondary school students at your school, and then there were some immigrant students who are also learning English while they're at school.
Many of the English language learners were actually in my ESL drama club. And the idea for this research project emerged in my own research, and many of my students knew about my research and talked to me about, what I've been doing. I also did an informal survey in the school, and students expressed concerns, so I approached those students and they came into the drama club with us. In terms of the native speakers, it really was looking for students who would be sensitive to the English language learners. And I approached drama teachers and other ESL teachers, and they recommended students. I also approached drama students that I had been working with who were native speakers, and that's really how we brought the 2 groups into our drama club. So in fact, the ESL drama club integrated the native speakers into the club as well.
And of course, because this was part of a research project, they did sign consent forms and information letters were sent to families and so on.
Absolutely. It's our school policy always to sign media release forms, parental permission forms, and then in addition, because of the research project and going through ethical reviews, we had, again, new permission forms. So we had, in fact, many permission forms throughout the project.
Great. Now, how many students were you able to recruit into each group?
Right. Initially, we had about 20 students, and then some students had a lot of commitments with other co-curricular activities. So we ended up with approximately 12 students in the end. Okay,
so those 2 groups, I guess, were equally weighted with 10 English language learners and 10 Canadian-born students. Can you tell me how you initially worked with each of these groups of students?
Yes, I started with the English language learners because this project really started from my own research, my PhD research with you, and concerns were expressed over some of the challenges faced in multi-level classrooms. So I started with looking at asking other English language learners if they felt similarly, and they said yes. So I asked them about challenges they faced in classes. I asked them about challenges they faced with native speakers and how perhaps they could have helped themselves, or native speakers could have helped them, or other adults in their lives could have helped them. So it was really just initially me scanning and looking at, is there a need here? And yes, there was. So I also did an informal interview research in the school survey, and it emerged again as a challenge for the English language learners that they were having trouble integrating with the native speakers. And so then I met with the native speakers, and I asked them to consider times when they felt excluded, perhaps when they didn't know another language or understand a culture. And I did some sort of sensitivity training with them, and I asked them to look at the videos that we've used before with the Growing New Roots, and that was the initial stage.
So it sounds as though you positioned this as a part of a club activity, but that also incorporated some action research, because all of these kids presumably were motivated to see things perhaps unfold a little bit differently. Do I have that under?
Yeah, what happened was the English language learners who showed interest, we wanted to integrate this into our drama club and give voice to some of these challenges that they're facing. And then I invited the native speakers into our ESL drama club.
All right, that's great. Now, after working separately with the two groups, after school, I presume, you then brought them together. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened when they came together on a regular basis?
Initially, we didn't discuss any of the challenges that had been mentioned by either group. It was really a time to build trust between the two groups. So I did team building exercises, icebreakers, we had pizza parties, just opportunities for casual conversation and to sort of gain familiarity with each other and to build trust and to relax, because there was tension initially. And as time went on, over a few months of meetings here and there and get-togethers, you could see the tension lowering. And that's when I wanted to start to consider raising some of the challenges they face with each other. But before that, we did something that was symbolic. We actually shared a bracelet, and so we all went away in the summer with this bracelet, which was a symbol of our commitment to exploring these ideas of what was challenging for both groups, although we hadn't discussed it yet.
Well, that sounds really wonderful. I know that throughout this time you were keeping a journal that informed you and really helped you make decisions as to how to proceed from week to week. Did the students also keep some type of journal?
The students actually would respond to questions that I would give to them from the initial phases right through to the post-DVD phase. So I would ask for feedback based on some of the questions we have around the barriers, and also how the actual experience of being involved in the project was impacting them. So there were sort of two angles to the types of questions I was asking.
So they always knew that ultimately the goal was to create a DVD that would be shared not only in the school, but beyond the school with perhaps teachers in preparation or other teachers in the broader community. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so how did you maneuver from just these social activities of getting to know each other and some responding in a journal type manner to actually being ready for the whole DVD filming experience?
Well, we met after the summer, and they all had their bracelets on, and then I explained to them after we had a few more gatherings of, icebreakers, because we had that time apart, we needed to, again, reestablish trust and sort of familiarity. And then we basically started with writing activities based on our research questions for the DVD. So I wasn't asking them to vocalize yet. It was simply a safe way for them to just get their feelings out on paper. So they had a couple of months in the fall to respond, and then I collected them in December. And basically in January, I came together with both groups again to tell them, do you know what, really? You have a lot of similarity in your answers, and some of the reasons the English language learners were giving for feeling excluded, we were getting the same responses from the native speakers. And I know my English language learners were really surprised that the native speakers could really empathize with them. So that was sort of an important moment. And then what happened was we started to rehearse. So we started meeting at lunch and taking the answers from the paper and starting to share them with each other. But the first point is that we had to do it in a safe way. So I started with my English language learners sharing with each other, and the native speakers sharing with each other. And then once they felt very confident in expressing themselves, I asked them for their permission to mix up. And then they started to mix up. So I'd have the English language learners speaking to the native speakers. And I mean, this really is the goal of our project, that they're able to come together and share. So we were actually in rehearsal really achieving that goal, and the DVD is just, you know, the crowning
wonderful
moment.
product, right?
Yeah, so that was for me the time that I thought, wow, here it is, we've done it. And you could see over time that they were more relaxed with each other. It was absolutely wonderful.
I imagine that your journal will be a very useful source for recollecting all of these interesting events that occurred. Now, can you tell me, after the filming, what type of data you continued to collect from the students?
Sure. I did a focus group interview with a couple of native speakers and some English language learners, and the interview occurred in last June. And also a native speaker and an English language learner also contributed to the data by answering the same questions that I asked in the focus group interview. They were unable to attend the meeting, but yet they still showed such commitment and wanted to participate. So I gave them that opportunity to respond via email.
And I've had the opportunity to actually hear those young people by listening to those tape scripts. So I really know what a huge difference this really intriguing participatory action project has made in terms of their own understanding of each other and their own confidence now to reach out more broadly in the community to people who on the surface feel very different from them. So thank you, Stephanie. Is there anything more you'd like to say about the project?
I would. In fact, I think there's a role for teachers to play. And what I've learned is that it's really important that before we even address the curriculum, that we look around at who's in our classroom and we build bridges for them to connect with each other so that trust is established. And that can occur through the icebreakers. I know David Booth's drama book has wonderful activities for team building. Also, I think teachers need to consider how they group students. And although I know many students want to always choose their own groups, there really is merit in having the teacher bring together people who don't know each other. And for the native speakers and the English language learners, they asked for this from their teachers so that they can be that bridge, bringing them together so that they can start to know each other. And also what they've taught me is that what happens in the classroom really does impact how they behave with each other in the school community. And if they don't make that connection in the classroom, it's not likely going to happen in the school community at all. So teachers really need to act as the bridge.
So teachers make a difference. They play a central role.
Absolutely.
In bringing our Canadian-born and our English language learners together in the classroom and in the school. So once again, thank you, Stephanie, and I'll look forward to yet another project with you soon.
You're welcome.